If you live paycheck to paycheck and struggle to pull together savings for an emergency, and you're scared and you're fearful about what your retirement would look like because it's hard to really pull together enough for retirement, then it's hard for you to imagine yourself actually becoming a millionaire if someone told you that it's possible. But you know what? It is possible for us to become millionaires. In fact, in this video, I'm going to share with you what I've learned from reading this book, The Automatic Millionaire by Bach. You're going to learn the simple and straightforward way that you can become a millionaire automatically. So you might say, well, Yvonne, how can I become a millionaire if I'm struggling even to pull together some savings? There's no extra money at the end of the month. But I'm going to challenge you that actually there is, and you don't need to come up with so much. Let's just kind of sit back here and really think about how we spend our money. In any given day, for instance, you might, think about how much money you spend on maybe your favorite stop in the morning to grab a cup of coffee and a snack or a breakfast. How much does that really cost you? Well, you can say maybe about $5 on average, and that's not including maybe the lunch that you pick up in the middle of the workday because you were too busy last night to pack your lunch, right? Or maybe when you're driving home and you're exhausted and you're too tired to pull together a dinner, so you just kind of drive by and pick something up on the way home, right, for you and your family. Well, let's kind of hone in on those purchases, and let's kind of take the low-hanging fruit, just breakfast, right? It's about $5, we said, right? So we're not even going to talk about your lunch and dinner. We'll just talk about that $5 on average that you might spend here and there on knickknacks. Well, if you take those $5 and you actually save them each day, that actually comes to about $120 a month. And if you were to invest that 120 into the market, for instance, that has yielded about 10% in the last 50 years, right? Give or take cycles, but on average, 10%. Did you know that by the time you reach retirement, you can have $1.2 million? With the magic of the compound effect, you are able to really leverage that in your favor and really save just with the minimum $5 a month. And that's called in The Automatic Millionaire, the latte factor. All of us have a latte factor, even if we drink coffee or not. And so I'm going to challenge you to really think about, what is your latte factor? How can you take that $5 and save that and invest that so that you are able to live comfortably? So isn't it exciting to see that it is possible and you can become a millionaire just with the latte factor? Well, there's another tip that I'd love to share with you, and that's about paying yourself first. You might be thinking, $5 a day, I could do that. But you don't know exactly how much you should be paying yourself. Well, let's talk about that, because you do have options based on the lifestyle you'd like to live. Let's say upon retirement, you'd like to live more of a middle-class lifestyle, and that's okay. Well, you want to start paying yourself 5 to 10% of your gross income. Remember, your gross income is the income you make before the federal government takes it in taxes and before the allocation of benefits. Now, if you want to get a little bit more a lifestyle that's better for you, an upper middle class lifestyle, then you're probably looking at about saving 10 to 15% of your gross income. To live a rich lifestyle, you want to start saving 15 to 20% of your gross income. And if you want to retire early, that's possible. Just start saving about 20% of your income, and that'll support you to get there. So always remember, it's important, however much you can, to pay yourself first, okay? And the way we pay ourselves first is by identifying how much we make before taxes, before any other contributions and allocations. And then that way you're able to save that amount every paycheck, so that way you set yourself up for success and to become a millionaire. So now that you know that it is possible for you to become a millionaire, and you know how much you want to allocate to your investment, now let's talk about allocations. What are the different areas that you can invest in? Well, you want to build a diversified portfolio, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the 5 key buckets of investments that are out there. The first 2 are less risky, but I want to say that you want to build your foundation with some sense of solidarity and less risk. Of course, that does mean that the yield is less, but again, we're building a diversified portfolio, so we're not going to skimp and skip this over. We're going to talk about it. So the foundation would be, for instance, cash, and you want to keep it in a place that's liquid, like a money market account, and you want to compare the different banks so that you're going for the highest rate, because you want your money to work for you. Even though you recognize that it's going to be a lot less aggressive, you still want your money to work for you. So you want to shop around and see which bank is going to get you the best for the money market. Now, after you build that foundation on cash, now the next thing you want to build upon is bonds. So bonds, there's 4 different kinds of bonds, and they're really essentially loaning money to the bank. The treasury bonds is a loan to the federal government. The municipal bonds are a loan to maybe your city, your state, or your county. The corporate bonds are loaned out to companies, for instance, Microsoft. And then you have these, what they call junk bonds or high yield bonds. And these are more investing in companies that are more volatile and not as stable. Okay, so that's the 4th one. So these are the bonds. Again, they don't yield very much percentage, but they're still considered less risky and safer investments. So the 3rd up is what's called a growth and income. And growth and income are more your tried and true, solid, large companies in the US. They're called large cap and or blue chip kinds of funds. And then as you continue to move up the ladder, you have your growth investments, and those are your mid cap. So for instance, your S&P 500 index fund and equity funds would fall into that space. Now your most aggressive are the small cap funds, and those are more on the emerging markets. So these are just an outlook of the 5 types of investments you're going to want to look at. And like I said, you want to build with a solid foundation, starting with cash and then bonds. I'm going to insert a chart here so that you can kind of see the types of investment allocation, and it really is based on age. And the reason why is, the younger you are, the more risk you can take, since you have more time to ride out any economic downturns that happen. But the older you are, if you look at the right side of the chart, you're going to want to take less risk. Okay, and if you notice there, the foundation is cash, and you work your way up and you take more risk, moving from cash to bonds to growth and income, growth and aggressive growth. So let's say, for instance, you're in your 20s and 30s. If you notice there, you've got less on cash, maybe 5 to 10%, 5 to 15% on bonds, and you're really going to focus on your growth and income between 30 to 40%, and your growth with between 40 to 50%. But you want to proceed with caution with your aggressive growth or your small cap, and keep that to 5 to 10%, because you want to be, you don't want to gamble, right? So you want to kind of proceed with caution, and just really diversify in a way that's going to really support you. And I wanted to kind of turn and look at the people in their 30s to 50s. If you notice there too, again, you have about 5 to 10% in cash, maybe about 15 to 25% in bonds. And then, the bulk again is the growth and income types of funds. And that's your large cap, tried and true kind of companies between 35 to 45, and then your growth, right, between 25 to 35%, which again is your mid cap equity S&P 500 type of funds. And then you notice too, it's similar to your earlier years, where you're going to kind of want to keep that to the 5 to 10%. So that should give you just an idea of a diversified investment allocation across 5 standard types of investment categories. But don't use this as the ironclad way to go. There are different types of allocations based on who you speak with. So this is just one of many. So I encourage you to maybe use this as a launching pad to begin your research and start talking to maybe a financial advisor or experts in their field that understand finance, and even picking up a few of their books so that you can kind of see the different types of allocations that are recommended, and you have to do what's best for you. At the end of the day, these are your investments, so you have to make this a personal decision to see what you're comfortable with. Now we come to the fun part, the automatic millionaire action steps. Now there are 5 steps you want to take. First of all, take a look and see if your employer offers a 401k. Oftentimes they will match a certain percentage, so that's free money right there you're leaving on the table if you don't take a look at that as a first option. Now, if your employer does not have a 401k, no worries. You have options for you. There's something called a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA. And these have certain limitations that you can invest in every year, but you can leverage that. In fact, the traditional is an investment account that you can take before taxes, and the Roth IRA is an after-tax contribution. So you have a 401k, you have a Roth IRA, or a traditional IRA. So these are some options, and certainly you can go directly to a brokerage account as well. Now, once you have that identified, where you're going to invest, then you go back and you say, okay, how much are you going to contribute from your paycheck each month? We talked about that, right? So hopefully you have it identified if you want to live a middle class, upper class, rich, or retire early. So now you know how much you want to allocate. Then you want to make sure that you have your investments across at least the 5 allocations that we talked through, and ensure you've got your portfolio diversified in such a way that's going to shelter you, but also give you the ability to take some risks as well, because the higher the risk, the higher the reward, right? And so finally, let's go ahead and make that automagic. And how you make that automagic is making sure that that money does not touch your checking account, because we know what happens when that money goes to our checking account. It already has a name on it. It's got a label, okay? And there's always a real good reason why we need to use that money for something else, right? And that's why, we're in this issue to begin with, right? With the average American not having enough in savings and certainly not enough for retirement. So let's change that, okay? And it begins with each person here listening to this video. Let's make that automatic. Now, make sure that you have, if your employer, most employers offer this now, where you don't even see that go straight to your checking account. You automatically have it set up so you don't see the money and it goes straight into your investment account, that percentage that you allocated. The other option too is, if you don't want to set it up so that it comes out straight from your paycheck, you can work with your brokerage account so that they have the ability to pull that so that it's an automatic setup every month at certain intervals. So again, you can have that set up with your employer where through the HR payroll process, they take that percentage and send that directly to the retirement brokerage account, or you work with the brokerage directly to get that set up. Okay, so I hope this information served you and that you're motivated to invest in yourself. And you know, wealth is not just financial gains. Wealth also includes taking care of your knowledge and learning and growth. So invest in yourself as well in courses so that you can continue to learn and grow. You know, I've created a goal mastery program that's really going to support you to set and achieve your financial goals. And not just financial, but also a well-rounded approach so that you are able to ensure that you're successful in all areas of life. Because at the end of the day, that's what wealth truly is, having a high quality of life. So in this program, once you enroll, we'll work together with a workbook that you can download as soon as you get the program. It's going to step you through identifying what your core values are, identify what your vision is, what's your life purpose, right? So there's activities that help you get to that focal point, what your focus is in life, and then a mission statement and action steps to help you get there, along with action steps to support you along your journey. So go ahead and click on the link in the description box below to get started today. And also, if you enjoyed this content, hit the like button so that supports others to also have access to this information through the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe so you're notified on new videos.